Man, do I love it when we get big moments in professional wrestling, especially when you get a controversial decision because everyone starts yelling, everyone gets mad, and then the other side come in, they get mad, and everybody starts having a huge argument. Even though stuff like this is totally nuanced, that's what I, the bored a-hole Simon Miller, are going to talk about today, and I'm pumped to talk about it, because that's what anything entertainment-wise should do. It should make you feel something deep down in your tum-tum, but yes, of course, it was John Cena's Saturday night main event retirement bonanza, and I laughed at the start of it. I'm a bad person, because we saw all of these legends, a lot of which John Cena had feuds with, and then we saw Trish Stratus. God help my brain, like, of course she should have been there. I was like, I don't remember the John Cena Trish Stratus feud, and no, I don't deserve this job. But hello my friends, welcome to Ups and Downs, the only wrestling review show you need, and I'm going to warn you now, we shall talk about John Cena versus Gunther, we shall talk about his retirement, but I have many thoughts to this, I have conflicting emotions, because good wrestling should do that. It should take you in about 42,768 directions. Also, quick shout out to Norton as well, who do sponsor this video. They are a VPN, so you can protect your online status, and also you can, watch certain wrestling shows from certain places, all I'm saying. And depending where you are located, there'll be a different way to do it, but the description is down there. But otherwise, can you believe it? I've been doing this a long old while, and it was the last time. I will up those downs for John Cena, so let's do it properly and go. Actually, we did start with noise that everyone has totally forgotten about for understandable reasons, because it was Femi versus Cody Rhodes, and man, was I plugged in and locked into this. As soon as Femi was doing his entrance walk, I was like, this guy should just be on the main roster. I know I'm repeating what I did say on Friday when we did SmackDown Ups and Downs, but he didn't look phased, he fit right in, and when he was staring down with Cody Rhodes, don't forget it's one of the faces of the company, it just worked, and it got me so damn excited, which actually is a very weird thing to say, and we kept it simple too. Cody tried to take the big man down, Oba was like, you can't take me down, and he threw him all over the place. Rhodes even tried to grab his head at one point, but no, he got backbreakered, and then he got spine busted too, and eventually, sure, he did do a dive, so put one on the dive counter, but given they were mucking around on the outside, Femi decided, I am going to run at you, Cody Rhodes, as hard as I can, he didn't do this with his hand, and they just went tumbling over on the announce table, and honestly, he didn't let up at all. At one point, I was like, Femi is a very large man, and Cody Rhodes is a big dude too. I genuinely hope they're okay. Then I was like, why when I watch wrestling do I turn it to people's dead? Before that as well, we did the whole Femi runs at Cody Rhodes, but Cody gets out the way, meaning Oba goes smashing into rear of the ring post, because never forget, no matter how big you are, if you do go into some steel, well, you're going to be in trouble. And after some of these collisions, Cody Rhodes was bleeding from his ear, and there's no way this could have been planned, it must have been halfway, because you wouldn't have sat down and gone, right, Cody, you're going to bleed from the ear, but sorry, John, you don't get to bleed at all. And after both guys had a bunch of 1-2-oohs, which was to show you that Femi can compete with the Cody Rhodes, also that Cody Rhodes is desperately trying to beat the NXT champion, well, once again, go back and watch SmackDown Ups and Downs, you could see this coming a mile away, even if you were Stevie Wonder, Drew McIntyre just ran in. Listen, I didn't like this at all. He just started punching Cody Rhodes and the match was thrown out, and I kind of sat there and I said to myself, well, that was totally pointless. I just thought that was the worst of all the options. I don't mind Drew McIntyre running in because, again, it does create shenanigans, but I think we should have done that thing where, one, it cost Cody Rhodes the match, as long as you shout about it enough, it wouldn't make a difference, or two, he accidentally allows Cody to win, and he's like, oh man, I can't believe I've done that, I'm such a stupid villain, but it is okay because I am playing the heel. But him just running in to stop the thing, also, why did he take 10 to 12 minutes? What was he, stuck in traffic? On the toilet? Ridiculous. It would just mean that he does have more enemies and Oba could target him down the line, but quite clearly we're not going to do that. And I did enjoy the aftermath because Oba just pushed Drew McIntyre on his ass, which is when Cody finally hit his Cody cutter. So Femi gave him the big choke slam when Cody Rhodes and Femi hugged, because that's just what babyfaces do. So I am going to give the finisher down. Again, I thought we could have been way more creative here. So you do get a proper finish, but it, well, not necessarily benefits Cody Rhodes. He doesn't need that. He's feuding with Drew McIntyre, but we could have shone a bigger spotlight on Femi. However, in terms of the match and how Femi performed, I am giving it an up. Somebody sent me a message the other day saying, Simon, you're so biased towards Femi. You're right. I enjoy this wrestler, and I'm a fan of his, and therefore usually I'm going to enjoy what he gives me. But it was great. I just think that finish is a bit like a get out of jail free card. WWE has played it too many times in 2025, because look, bam, put one on the dick board, distractions, interference, and confusions. You can see it with your eyes. because I am a good detective. We then just had more legends and celebrities celebrating John Cena, which really did remind you, oh my gosh, he has had an incredible career, when we went into Bayley versus Sol Ruca, and man, did I love this. Now, I was a bit worried because Lyra Valkyria and Zarya came out. I was like, oh man, you can't do more shenanigans. But actually we didn't. And we played this completely different from the first match because now Sol Ruca was the rookie and Bayley was the experienced one. So when they tried to wrestle, Bayley was like, I've been doing this a long time, kid, and I'm able to outwork you. She did. That's when Sol Ruca went flippy dippy doodah. She hit a flipping Sasaki special, which looked absolutely incredible. I know she does this down at NXT all the time, but it's like Oba Femi to all of a sudden step up to this kind of stage and look totally nonplussed by it. Well, one put a 1 on the dive counter, which is a stupid sentence, but she's another one. Why can't we put her on the main roster? She feels fresh, she feels exciting. I just think the whole thing needs a big old shuffle round. She did try for a springboard, but Bayley was like, nope, that's not gonna happen, and started wrecking her face. Although when she went for the Rhodes plant, Sol was able to turn that into a DDT, and that was cool too. When eventually Bayley was able to turn this round, she did plant the Rose, or words to that effect, and the ref went 1, and the ref went 2, and Sol Ruca got her foot on the rope. And that's when I was like, oh my gosh, I think Sol Ruca is going to win, because they sold this as the only reason Sol's foot did get to the ropes is because Bayley overdid the pin. Especially Wade Barrett. He said that about 42 times, and you don't do that unless you're about to pull off the shock. Sol Ruca was then bouncing around like a damn trampoline because she is just so flippy dippy doodah. When she did hit the Snow Snatcher, I thought this was cool too, because Bayley kind of sold it to the outside, and Sol was like, no, I'm not going to be able to pin you. When she dragged her back in, because Bayley once again is the teacher, she hit the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, surprise roll-up. But Sol must have been watching wrestling and she knew if I reverse this, I'm definitely gonna get the uno, dos, tres. She did, and she got the victory, and I think that is totally huge, and WWE absolutely has to make sure she uses this going forward, and when she does come to the main roster, if she's a heel or something, which could happen, we are teasing that in NXT, she should go after Bayley again and be like, ha ha, I beat you, and Bayley should sell this like, no, I can't believe it. Essentially Darth Vader. I also want to shout out Bayley as well, because talk about a giving performer, especially over the last few weeks. She is always looking out for the next generation, but let's make sure we use this. Do not forget about it, because it is a huge deal. I am giving it an up, and again, once like match 1, everybody hugged, because if you are good guys in professional wrestling, that's what you have to do. At the same time, these were all exhibition matches, and I thought this did a world of good for Sol Ruca, and essentially told you, let's bring it over to WWE likes Oba Femi, WWE likes Sol Ruca, and even if they do stay down NXT for a while, you're gonna see them soon. They're only gonna get better and better. Up. More love for John Cena after this, including from RVD, which was very nice to see. When it was Javon Evans and Leon Slater taking on AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. At one point, the tag belts were on the line, then they weren't on the line. I think eventually we settled to do a non-title match, which does make more sense, because it told you, oh, hi, maybe Javon and Leon are going to win. They didn't, but in terms of bell-to-bell action, this is going to be the highlight of the night. Leon and Javon just launched into this at 100 miles an hour as well. They were just ping-ponging around the place. And I think they must have gone beforehand. Hello, AJ Styles. You're a legend. You are one of the GOATs. We essentially got interesting because of what you did in TNA. So we are just going to bounce around for you and make you look like a badass. That's exactly what they did. And because AJ Styles is the best, he must have gone, oh, that's very kind, you lovely gentleman. But I want to do that for you as well. Made it out like Dragon Lee was just in the corner. He got involved too with his fire breath. They all just had such good chemistry. And there was one spot when eventually they ended up on the outside and Dragon Lee got thrown to the ring post and people were doing like weird Hurricane Ranas into powerbomb stuff. Honestly, this was totally woefully brilliant. We absolutely had to put a 1 on the dive counter, although I think I've been quite conservative there. And any time AJ Styles went for the Styles Clash, either Leon or Javon went and broke that up. There was also this great near fall where Javon got the cutter and Leon got the Swanton 450 and Dragon Lee broke that up at the last second. And again, it was AJ Styles taking all of this. You could just go watch it, right? You haven't seen it. Sit there, put a cup of coffee on, have a scone, whatever the flub you want to call it. You're just going to have the best time. And please forgive me for becoming a broken record, but Leon Slater and Javon Evans could be on SmackDown tomorrow, either as a tag team or as single stars, and it's just going to be absolutely effortless for them because they're that damn good. I don't know why I'm doing this ahead. Now actually fate struck at the end of this, but actually I think it's going to work out better all around because of all the times for AJ Styles to go for the phenomenal forearm and slip, it happened on this night. But do you know what Leon Slater did, who's like 21 years old? He instantly went for the pin. Now, I know you're going, well, so great about that, anybody would do it. It's not true. As a man who does wrestle, sometimes when things do go wrong, you just freeze in perpetual motion and you don't know why. This kind of made it look like it was the finish when Leon once again went for his flippy dippy doodah move. AJ caught him, he gave him the Styles Clash 1, 2, 3. Before this, Siobhan Evans had done this crazy dive onto Dragon Lee, so put another one on the dive counter. But even though AJ Styles had just pinned them, I think this kind of ties into the theme of this video. I didn't look at Siobhan and Leon and go, oh man, you're totally rubbish. I thought they are two young pups who just went toe-to-toe with the best. And if this is what they're doing at this stage of their career, what the flub are they going to do in 10 years' time? So they really are the future. And again, I think that slip added to the match because that would happen in real life. So if you do want to suspend your disbelief, this is the way. And as for AJ Styles, somebody just give that man a hug. He is so damn good. I am giving this a super duper massive up, and I want to see them do it again, but this time for the tag team titles. I don't know how you're going to get Leon Slater on Raw SmackDown. Pretty sure he signed to TNA, but a part of me thinks that may not make a difference. This totally rocked. When, yes, we got this segment with The Miz, R-Truth and Joe Hendry, which was totally harmless. I'm not going to spend overly long on it. But I would presume this was John Cena saying, listen, I really would like to have these three people featured because, of course, he had that feud with The Miz. R-Truth and John Cena have forever been joined at the hip. And quite clearly, if you have heard Joe Hendry in interviews, him and John Cena have quite the relationship. Also, as for Joe, one incredible 2025. He hit the triple header, a surprise in the Rumble, a surprise at WrestleMania, and being part of John Cena's final showdown. That's absolutely ridiculous. And more power to that guy. He's an inspiration to us all. I'm just going to give it up. If you want to wind it forward and you do watch it, fine. But I did watch it. I'm like, it's totally inoffensive. And I guess it did set the scene for our main event. Now this started with the most emotion ever because we got a My Sacrifice video for John Cena, which instantly had you welling up in your eyes, and it cut to Gunther, who was making the most villainous entrance ever, but screw that. Go and watch John Cena's entrance here. When we get to, I don't know, some video in 5 years' time, you want to do the top 10 best entrances ever, this is probably going to have to get in there. The way John Cena looked, the emotion, the fact he took the camera and turned it on Stu, that made you go, oh man, I can't believe it. I have never heard noise like this because you had 19,000 people desperate to say goodbye to one of the best. And dare I say it, I think they wanted him to win. Now, if this didn't affect you, I can't believe you actually like pro wrestling. And beforehand, John Cena went to ringside, and there was Sami Zayn, there was Mark Henry, there was Haku, there was Kevin Owens, and a bunch of other people, so that was nice. When he got in the ring and he looked at Gunther, and Gunther looked at him, and this is why Gunther was such a good shout for this spot. He was just totally emotionless, and if his skin could talk, it would have said, John Cena, I am about to kill you. He also absolutely murdered John Cena for a while. Like, he did get out the ring at first so people could go boo, then he just started laying in the chops, so John Cena actually caught one of them. And I think John Cena did his 5 moves of doom 3 times. I may be exaggerating there. But the reason I want to bring it up is during one of these, I don't think Gunther has ever watched a John Cena match. He was a bit like, what comes next, Jonathan? Once again, this is why Gunther is the perfect opponent. He is the antithesis to everything John Cena stood for. And actually, when we got to the end, do you know who summed it up the best? Michael Cole. We'll talk about it. Soon Gunther was going for the sleeper as well, and John Cena turned it into the STFU. And I just love the story of this match because, of course, Gunther was either going to get John Cena to tap out, which he would never do, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, or Cena was going to get the absolute one-upmanship over a dude that loves submitting people, because how many times has he won with that move? A lot. And I have to give credit to WWE, John Cena and Gunther. I had no idea who was going to win. I had my own opinions. But when we got 10 minutes into this, I was looking around my room like a nerd saying, damn it, I have no possible idea. After a massive powerbomb as well, Gunther just started to lay in these clotheslines when he actually said to the referee, you better go check on that guy, because once again, he could be dead. This is when John Cena hit his first AA out of nowhere. But of course, Gunther kicked out the 1-2-ooh. That's just part of wrestling lexicon these days. If you do get hit with the attitude adjustment for one time, you must kick out. He instantly went back into the sleeper, and when John Cena decided to power out of that, not only did Gunther throw him into the ring apron, which I was not expecting, because it is the hardest part of the ring, but Cena also went into Simba the Steel Steps, so once again, he was getting his ass kicked. And from my vantage point, I was like, well, I'm sure this is because John Cena's going to fight back. I tell you, my friends, he kind of did, but he also kind of didn't. Well, that's not totally true, because right after that, John Cena did hit an AA through Alan, the announce table, which got a massive pop, but there was just this air of desperation in the air, which again is the worst sentence I've ever said. At this point is when I started to go, I mean, John is fighting out of a lot of this, but it also feels like Gunther is on the ascendancy. He eventually got that final one-knuckle shuffle, and the real celebration here is that we did get 20 plus years of making masturbation references, and somehow it never got taken out of the product. I don't think Gunther cared though, because he super kicked John Cena, and he hit another bomb of power. When that did get the 1-2, he decided, well, Johnny boy, let's see if you have got your 8 hours, and he applied the sleeper. Now this was really locked in to the point that Cena really started scrambling like a madman, so you could tell the finish was due, but eventually John did get to his feet and he rammed Gunther into the corner, when all of a sudden he did hit that last desperation AA, and I think this crowd totally bought on that one. Because when Gunther kicked out of the 1-2, not only did people go, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, but once again they were like, oh no, I think I know what's about to happen. Because the ring general locked in that sleeper for the last time, and once again John Cena was fighting for his life. We even did the whole 1, 2, 3 arm drop, but at the last time Cena did get out of it. But just as he got to his feet, Gunther laid in those horrific elbows, and I really think he was laying them in, but Cena's skin started going red when he reapplied this submission, and I was like, unless he's going to pull out the most devastating move in all of sports and attempt a surprise roll-up, I don't know how Cena gets out of this. Well, my friends, he did not. Because just when it looked like he was going to fade, he got his flibbly-flabbly arm or his flibbly-flabbly hand, and man, he tapped out, and you could hear a pin drop. This was very reminiscent of WrestleMania 30 with Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker, because after 20 years of not giving up, my gosh, John Cena just gave up. I can't even believe I'm saying those words on my stupid YouTube show. Now, John Cena did do this with a smile on his face, which I thought was very poetic, and my initial reaction was this. I didn't like it. I was like, no, that's the worst possible thing we could have done, because sometimes I watch pro wrestling just to be happy, and then you'll get someone walking in going, but what about the business part of things that we are going to talk about in just 1 second? But if you just want to be a fan, you just want to enjoy what you're seeing on the screen, and you love John Cena, this should have made you feel sad. This should have made you feel terrible. And I also think there is a big argument to say, why didn't John Cena just pass out? We just talked about poetic things. Arguably, that's even more so, because you could be like, oh man, even to his last breath, he refused to tap out, but ultimately he wasn't getting oxygen to his brain, so his body went, all right, John, we gotta go to sleep. I mean, Gunther would have still won, but I do have to say the reaction to it was incredible. This was essentially 23 years in the making, and when these people did see this, we cut to one woman of the crowd. She actually looked disgusted, like someone had walked up to her and said, ha ha, every bit of food you ever ate, I spat on. Now, let's do the other side of this. Let's put on our nerd caps, which we all do. It is 2025. WWE has just taken Gunther and turned him into a monster. When he cuts that promo on Raw, he can say, do you know what I've done this year? I retired Bill Goldberg, a legend. I retired John Cena, the legend of all legends, and now I'm going to go on and retire somebody else. And if all these rumors about Brock Lesnar giving up in 2026 are true, give it to Gunther, because my gosh, he is going to be the ultimate bad guy, and when somebody beats him, forget about it and go put a hat on the man. This is very similar to when Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania 30, and I've stood on this hill to the end of time. Sure, Brock was already a star, but he then rode that to be the final boss for the next 10 years, and if WWE get this right, and of course we have to put effort in, you can do the same with Gunther. I know he was already a star, but he's not a Cody level of star, he's not a Punk level of star, he's not a Roman Reigns level of star. Now you may have just put potential in his feet. What? Gunther absolutely needs to ram this down our throats though, and this is one of the reasons I just loved it all around, because look at the amount of emotions it gave you. It should be nuanced. At one point you should be going, oh well, yes, what about the business? On the other you should be like, no, John Cena never should have tapped out, he should have passed out. Then you could be a super fan and be like, he should have won, I just wanted to be happy, which is something I still lean on. Have you looked out the window recently? The world is an absolute pit. So when you do watch pro wrestling, you just want to feel warm and fuzzy in your tum-tum. I've been talking about that for the last 5 years. So somewhat ironically, actually, I am going to stand on ceremony, Mr. Wayne, which I've never done. Usually I refuse to. But it's much like when Sting retired. If you remember, we retired the Diamond Up, and I'm sure Steve Porter wakes up every day like, oh man, that's Simon Miller, what a guy. But we are doing brand new things. Again, when we do come to these kind of retirements, it changes the game, but I just think it's true. I am giving it down for my ultimate reaction because, again, I was devastated. I was like, no, at least pass out for goodness sake. But for everything else that we can talk about, and we have, I am going to give it an up. Now you go, Simon, it's so lame. You're so lame. Why do you have to sit on the fence? I'm not sitting on the fence. I'm saying this was such a controversial finish. You can look at it from 42 different ways. And if you don't do that, well, I don't think you're having the fun that wrestling allows you to have. I just think it's one of those things that you can draw a line down and kind of jump between each of them, and you're going to feel different over the next few days. And bless this Gunther, he was laughing his ass off after this, and now he is the ultimate heel. And from that point on, as soon as he was gone, we went into the let's say goodbye to John Cena. And man, did I cry my eyes out. Did I have water coming out my seeing devices? Because not only did every single person under the sun come to the ring, CM Punk and Cody Rhodes got in there, the world champion, the WWE champion. They put the belts on John Cena's shoulders. He held them up. By this point, the fans have decided, listen, we'll get mad later. We are just going to love this guy. And the video package that WWE played, I was like, that's it. I am totally done. Cena then left the iconic parts of his gear in the ring as everybody applauded him to the back. And just before he left for one final time, he turned around into the camera and said something along the lines of, thank you so much for letting me do this. I was like, man, who cares who won? Who cares who lost? Who cares if an elephant marries a dog and we have a new animal called an Ellie dog? I don't care about any of that. It just hit you right here. If you've been watching John Cena since 2002, it was everything you could have wanted. So sure, argue about the finish, argue about Gunther, argue about tapping out, argue about going to sleep. But this was wonderful. This was beautiful, to use a stupid word. This was emotional. It made me realize this is the important stuff. This is 20 years coming and smacking you right in the face. It's not just an up, it's a golden up. How does sports entertainment make us feel this way? Although actually, sports entertainment is dead. Going back to that Michael Cole line, he said this after Gunther had won, sports entertainment just got killed by pro wrestling. And I was like, Mike, you should probably retire too. You may never say anything better than that. So overall, I was a huge fan of all of this because even if you do want to get mad, which is totally fine, I just like to enjoy wrestling in this wonderful bubble that it is presented to me in. And as for John Cena, I just want to say thank you, my friend, for 20 years of memories. Because even sort of 10 years ago when people were booing this guy, it was still so much fun. You kind of tuned in to go, what the fans going to do this week? And what a wonderful sort of 180 as well. Back in 2009, 10, 11, 12, whenever the flub it was, people would boo John Cena when he won a big match. And on this night, everybody was booing anything but John Cena because they just wanted to see him win for one last time. Also, let's never forget all his Make-A-Wish work, which actually is the most important part of all of this, because it kind of reminds you to be nice, and that being nice is the most important thing in the world, and that's something I've always tried to live my life by. And just to end this video, in the corniest way possible, there's 3 things that I think we should all say, and that is thank you, John Cena. Damn it, that was 4 words. I only meant to say Cena, and I added in the John. I can't do anything right. So what did I think about Saturday night's main event overall? Well, I tell you, man, I would much rather a controversial show that makes you feel all of these emotions than a boring show, so I am absolutely going to give it an up. Again, just to go over my ups and downs there, a down for how it made me feel, because sometimes you should feel sad in wrestling, but you don't want to feel sad. That's not a good emotion. And up for the sort of business that we may have created going forward, and a golden up for everything that happened after this match. And if you just want to ignore the fight part, you should. Watch everything from when Punk and Cody give him those belts. I just go back to what I said earlier. If this doesn't make you feel something, well, I don't want to be that guy, but you may be dead. So now I'm sure you're totally mad, which is fine by me because it should be bringing these emotions out of you. So drop me a comment below and tell me, you absolute bald dickhead. Like the video, share the video and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which would be something to do with John Cena, I'm sure. Otherwise, my friends, thank you for having a blast with me. I love this pro wrestling stuff. It never ceases to get you. I'll see you next week when Gunther is probably going to be the biggest heel in the world. Goodbye.